Yeah. Let me get the music queued up here.
Welcome. So we can cover the Asian shooter next week.
Yeah, or we can. Let's see where it flows into. Let's give this thing a go here. Maybe we just play this.
Dude, I'd be fine with that.
That's bridging civil tension right there. Welcome in, everybody. 21.6 The Nat, you've got us bridging civil tension where, well, it's better to build a bridge and then burn one. You never know when you're going to need it. Of course, brought to you through the financial support of our good friends over at Gold Shield Services. Gold Shield Services for all your HVAC and everything. Check them out, www.goldshieldtoday.com.
Nice hoodie, actually.
Yeah, right. Little swag from the people who are helping us out. Of course, right. Man, what we wanted to talk about and what we love this show. This show is we talk about a lot of edgy things, Phil. Of course, Phil Wallace, this guy over here, author, entrepreneur, clothing mogul, coach, mentor. This guy does it all. And then you got me. And
you are amazing. You're your own slice of fantastic.
In my own world. Come take a trip in my world for a little while. But hey, Derek, you got it. And speaking of our good friends at Gold Shield, look at it. See, I'm donning it, bro. Yeah, nice. And Derek, great show last night. Derek kicked off a new show last night here on 21.6 that'll air on Thursdays. The Bare Facts on Guns. Great job.
Okay.
Great job. Covers everything and even encourages the opposition, people who aren't pro-gun or for guns or quite understand guns to speak out. So it was really, really good show. We're looking forward to that. Right? I mean, if it's good, I'm loving it. I'm all in. Gold Shield today colors. I'm ripping it. Of course, one of my favorite days of the year, right? Is this is for any basketball junkie. This starts the tournament. This is like, oh God,
nerd inhaler.
Yeah. Yep. Been shaken. I'm ready. So
super excited for this.
So before we jump into what we're going to talk about, I do got to say this year, I've been very busy. Haven't seen too many games, if any.
Right.
So I created, for my bracket this year, I created a mathematical equation. What? And I created a mathematical equation. And then the team that had the highest number of that mathematical equation.
That's who you went with?
That's who I went with. And interestingly enough, I have Gonzaga winning it all. But I think Appalachian State lost, and I had them going pretty deep too because of the equation. They had to play in. I don't know if they won last night. Anyway, what we wanted to talk about today, or what I wanted to talk about, and I know, ladies and gentlemen, that there was a horrific mass murder in Georgia. And we might get to that, but when it comes to race and racism, what I really wanted to talk about was silence.
Right.
And silence isn't golden. And I think it's kind of like the Civil War. You're a history buff. So the Civil War, you had 33% of the population who was like, let's go get them, right? Bearing arms and pitchforks and whatever. And then there was 33% who were like, no. I think everything is good.
Right.
And then there was 33% who didn't say anything. They were the silent.
Just kept silent.
And I think when it comes to what we deal with and what we talk about, and in today's world, I think that silence is not golden. Silence is if there's a conversation, let's talk about racism in school districts, and you're talking with a teacher, and a teacher says, I don't think I should say anything.
Right.
That's really, to me, supporting racism. To me, that's a pretty bold stance, right? But if you're going to be quiet, if you are a leader, if you're a teacher, if you're in somebody in place of authority, and you choose not to say anything,
you're
allowing it to happen. Why? Why is that okay? Is it okay?
I'm just trying to think of other circumstances. Like, for instance, if I saw someone's wallet being taken, or I saw someone being mugged, etc., just keep quiet and just keep walking.
A lot of people do, right?
And I know that I could have helped. Like, in the gym, I know that I could have helped. And I just keep silent. I just and in these situations, we're not even asking you to put yourself in the line of danger.
Yeah.
Like stopping a mugging. It's just, hey, if you hear someone make an inappropriate joke, say something. If you see someone being bullied at your school because of it, say something. If you see teachers mistreating students because of the color of their skin, say something.
You see somebody walking around with an AR-15 in the middle of downtown, you might want to say something. Maybe not to that person.
Not to that person,
Hey,
but to the authorities.
Yeah.
Say something. Because people get conditioned to continue what is allowed in their network, in their social. If you're around certain people and certain jokes, and I come to your circle and I say certain jokes, I'm like, cool, I can say this around them. They're fine with this. But if I say something and immediately it's shut down, I won't make those types of comments again in this circle, because I know I'm right here. And eventually, hopefully, you get trained enough to realize this isn't appropriate. This isn't okay. I shouldn't be saying these types of things. But when you allow it, you perpetuate it.
So, hey, Bree, yeah, actions do speak louder,
right,
than anything.
Hi, Coach.
With that, okay, somebody's stealing a wallet.
Right.
I'm stealing a wallet. Old white guy. I'm beating up this lady. I'm stealing her purse. African American sees that happen. You jumping in to stop me?
I think I could take you. It'll be close.
You wouldn't go, oh shit, they're going to think I'm stealing the purse?
You do have to second guess it. You do have to make sure there are enough witnesses.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'm helping you now, lady. Just so you know, it's me in the white hoodie. I'm the one that's helping, not the one that's...
Yeah.
Just in case.
Not the guy in the gold shield. Sponsor throw out there.
Sponsor throw out there.
Right. So, but you understand what I'm saying.
You do have to, like, shoot. Like, there was a lady who was walking across the street, elderly lady. Long story short, she had Parkinson's. And you see her, like, trying to step onto the curb, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to help you, but I'm helping you to help you get across the street because you're holding groceries, and I'm helping you. And there's a lady who came outside, was like, what's going on here? I'm over. Thank God that you're here. I'm trying to help her. She's shaking. She was looking like she's about to fall. Please, someone else be involved. So it's not just me, big and black, and then an elderly white lady. Looks like she's being like,
right.
You have to be cautious about that.
Well, and right, but you weren't silent.
No. And you have to like, that's step up.
Right. So I think a lot of people, right, it would go, because the stereotype out there, I don't want to,
right.
Ma'am, are you okay? You know, I'll stand back, maybe ask a question, but I'm not going to help.
But I know, like myself and a lot of people that I talk to, look for opportunities to contradict the stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
So situations where I get a chance to prove we're not what you hear about and the negative side, that's when you take action. And so in those situations, I can be helpful. And, this may be her black experience for the year. And it was a good one. Great.
So you're cruising on I-90 and a orange Charger with 01 on the door and a Dixie flag is pulled over with its flashers on.
Literally, for real.
Right?
Dukes of Hazzard reference for those who don't understand what Kid's talking about.
Do you keep going or do you call?
That's when you phone a friend.
Yeah, with
the boys in blue.
Jacked up Bubba truck.
Right.
I'm kidding. I kid. Well, why is it? I mean, most people that I talk to and I deal with understand, Phil, that racism is wrong. And most of them will say, I'm not racist. Yeah, when it comes to something or a conversation or it comes to bringing it up, it comes to truly talking about it or trying to solve something, silent.
I'm help you out. Most people that you talk to know that admitting that you're racist is wrong. They don't really understand that racism is wrong. Because the second a slow Asian driver, the second creepy Hispanic, the second a suspicious black, this instant a hillbilly in overalls, it's not that we know that racism is wrong. Admitting that I think these thoughts or I say these things is what's wrong.
Interesting. Okay.
It's right. We say racism is like as the next layer of skin. As soon as there's a little friction, it takes us off, it bleeds out. As soon as anyone's inconvenienced, you find out exactly what's right beneath the surface. Let a little frustration hit. If you watch any of the videos when someone's frustrated in a store and there's a person who works there of a different race, what typically happens? Comments are made that otherwise this person would have walked right past that person. You would never, if you would have asked that person prior to going in, "Sir, are you racist?" They would have probably said no. As soon as they got in the store and they were inconvenienced a little bit, I'm this, you're that, she's this. You find out how they really feel about those types of races.
Yeah. Now, and everybody out there, all of our listeners, we truly appreciate you, and the feedback we get, we absolutely truly appreciate. Right. And one of our listeners, and hopefully we can encourage him to be on with us. And I don't know if the time slot doesn't work for him or whatnot, but is tired of says is tired of you playing the victim. What do you say to that?
And I think we addressed this before on the show, but I'd be happy to address it again. When I welcome this person to point out when a person is playing a victim, admitting or acknowledging that certain events happened or are happening or continue to happen, while maintaining a positive attitude and still going about life and thriving, is not playing the victim. If I was a woe is me crying in my room, anytime you saw me, I wasn't working on anything new, then that's probably playing the victim. But to say, hey, I was called this today, I still held a radio show, I still coached kids, we still had a good time, like we still did other things. That's not a person playing a victim. That's a person saying, hey, this happened and it needs to stop. I would like your voice to help make it stop. Mm-hmm. It's not a person playing a victim. And we've also talked about how is it that when minorities just tell you what a day in the life of a minority looks like, it's playing the victim. But anytime, a suburban kid, case in point, what recently happened, had a bad day, it's justified. 8 people were, shot, and the police said, well, he had a bad day and he's troubled, and what kind of world are we living that we can't offer this man hope? But I'm the victim? I'm, for real? Have you not noticed how many times when there are these mass shooters who are not minorities, how all of them are emotionally disturbed and should have deserved the help that they could have? That would appear that we're making these people out to be the victims after they killed people. Mm-hmm. But if I tell you what happens in the life of a minority, I'm looked at as I'm playing the victim.
Sure.
I would love to have that conversation.
Well, and I want people to understand something. I had a great conversation yesterday with an entrepreneur who is from Southeast Asia, okay, and owns several yogurt stores in the Rockford area. And after 9/11, nobody went in there because he was from the Middle East. Yeah. Okay. We need to get a better map. We need to get a little better map. But he lost his yogurt business because people stopped coming in because he was Middle Eastern, South Asian.
Entirely different. But
so there's that as well. I mean, that's not going in and shooting somebody, but it's taking somebody's life away from them because of racism.
Right.
I mean, his yogurt stores were in different neighborhoods. They weren't all in rich white neighborhoods. They weren't in tore down neighborhoods that were rebuilding or anything like that. They were in different neighborhoods. Different ethnicities live in those neighborhoods,
right.
and yet all three of those stores, people stopped going in because he was Middle Eastern and he was the terrorist at that point.
But if you ask anybody in that neighborhood if they were racist,
not at all. Nobody.
I assume.
No, we're very diverse. Look at all these people here, right? And diversity, you can be diverse. You can have diversity in your life and still be racist.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, because I feel like in a lot of those situations, it's I have a white coworker, and
congratulations.
I have a black coworker. I can't be. I went to school with one. Probably because you went to school with one. Not a lot of them. You say the things that you say because you wouldn't say those if those numbers were reversed.
And if you find yourself using terms like them or one,
if you can count, if you know for a fact the number of minority friends of that race you have, you're paying far too much attention. I don't know how many white friends I have.
I was having a conversation with a guy, and I think highly of this individual. Not racist. Yet, in the conversation, he spoke of the coloreds.
Oh,
yeah. And I was like,
what?
What? And I bit my lip. Because I'm a smart ass. What color were they? Were they purple?
Right.
But here we are in 2021, and this gentleman used the term colored.
The Crayola people.
Blew me away. I mean, the look on my face, he must not have caught it or whatever, because I was like, what? But then I was silent. See, and I'm talking about that. Right. I didn't say, bro, what? Are we back on the plantation? Colored?
Yeah.
What?
Not okay.
Not okay. Right? So as I'm sitting here saying that, I should have had enough guts to go, what? I should have.
Right.
And I didn't. And it's those little things.
So why do you think that was?
One, I think I was surprised.
Right.
One, I think I was very surprised with who said it and that it was said. And the other is I don't know if I knew how to react to it. Right. My first knee jerk reaction with everything is humor.
Right.
Yeah, that's just who
that's
I
how
am.
We do. Yeah.
And I don't like uncomfortable situations, and I think I was uncomfortable. Yeah. So it was, but instead of going, wait.
Right.
I mean, and it's been, you can see it's kind of been going through my head through this whole time. But I mean, if you, as we say several times, if you don't address it, you bless it.
Right.
And I didn't address it.
I mean, you also said you respect the guy, right? So sometimes that feeling of, if I correct someone that I respect like this, is he going to be offended and the relationship's done? Is it worth then not having this individual as a mentor, friend, coach, whatever, after I make this comment and things get uncomfortable? And that's where we've had the conversation. If the buy-in isn't greater than the possible loss sometimes for certain people, they don't speak up.
Right. And it has. It's kind of bothered me, and I'm like, man, why didn't I?
But at least it hits your radar, though, right? At least now, because some people will miss that opportunity and never think twice about it. Like, I didn't say anything. Right. As far as it goes, when it gets to the point of, okay, I didn't say anything then, probably I'm assuming your next follow-up thought is, but next time I'm going to say something. Yeah.
I mean, that's, it isn't worth, I don't think, calling them and going, that conversation we were having last week.
Right.
I don't talk, I talk to them, once a week or whatever, so getting a call out of the blue.
Correct. Yeah.
is that comfortable as well? But next time, yeah, hey, you know what? Ooh,
Probably don't say
let's
that.
not run that. Let's not run that direction, right? Now, this week, right? There's the shooting in Georgia,
right?
And what eight people dead,
and they don't know if it was a hate crime. Now, did you see the picture? The sheriff bought the China flu COVID T-shirt. The one who spoke on behalf of the shooter, saying that we don't know, we can't just confirm that it's a hate crime. He owns China flu T-shirt.
China flu.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, Boss Hogg, he runs the place. Now, for those of you who don't know, right, and I mean, now you're going to see flags flying at half mast for the loss of those eight people, right? The bank that I work at, fly them at half mast for the loss of 8 people. The shooter was white, taken peacefully.
Apprehended.
My
favorite word.
Apprehended peacefully. Right. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Right. Yeah. Irony.
You can shoot 8 people at different salons and be apprehended. But if you're a 14-year-old with a toy gun at a playground, you won't make it.
Don't get shot. Right. Now, there are pieces of me with a bulletproof vest on. That's what the kid had on? The shooter?
I think the officers put that on him to make sure that he was apprehended safely.
Well, okay.
Or maybe he had one.
Take a look. Lee Harvey Oswald got shot, so maybe it's a thing since the '60s that we do.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know.
I've just never seen it done for anyone else. But anyway, so let's just say that he had his own. Let's go with that one.
Yeah. But first of all, it takes a unique character. You're not having a bad day. To take a human life, I don't care who you are. But if you're a trained sniper, there's still a lot of mental things when you're taking a human life. Right. Yeah. So it takes a unique individual, I think,
to sit down, premeditate. I'm going into these places to do that.
Yeah, well, of course you're not mentally stable. That's a weird thing,
right?
And maybe that's why they put the jacket on him, so that we can try to figure out what's going on in that brain.
Right.
But when was the last time somebody was shot when they were in police custody? I don't,
especially right away, like on the spot. Right. I haven't seen that as often. I don't know if I ever remember that circumstance happening. I do find it interesting, though, that a bad day in his situation is almost made to be justifiable for his actions. But a kid on the south side of Chicago who had a bad day and simply just isn't paying attention in class as fully as he should be, that's the one that's the problem.
Well, and I mean, let's talk about that. If the shooter was not Caucasian, if the shooter was Asian, then what? Do we care? Is it such a big deal? Or is it because it was a different race shooting a different race that it's a big deal?
So with that, I also sent you an illustration on that.
Yeah.
If it's an Asian shooter, we don't like Asians. If it's an Arab shooter, it's terrorist. Yeah. If it's a black shooter, BLM is a terrorist group.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a Hispanic shooter, we need to build a wall. This is why we told you guys you need a wall.
Yeah.
If it's a white shooter,
bad day.
He was troubled. He was emotionally unstable. And came from a bad home. And how are we failing him as a society where he's reached this point where he felt the need to?
So the menu is not the same. that we know of. Now, listen to what I'm saying. Everybody just slow down and listen to what I'm saying. Yes, there have been black on black shootings. There has been Asian on Asian shootings. We get that.
Here come the stats.
We get that.
We understand crime rate in Chicago.
Right.
We understand. We've seen it.
Right. That's not what, but on a grander scale.
Right.
Right. Yes, we can. We can pick apart everything to make that. And that was one of the very first shows that we ever did, the Yeah But.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We get that. We get that. We need to move past that now.
Right.
In order to heal, in order to make things right, in order for you to not be so offended as an individual, we have to get past that, right? I agree. A shooter is a shooter. It's sad because there was a shooting period.
Right.
Yeah. I don't even like to run over a squirrel in my car. I mean, you're going to take me to a weird place if I have to shoot a person. If I have to shoot a person, I'm guessing that I ended up with their gun and they were trying to do something to my family.
Right. That's probably the circumstance.
But that's just me.
His wasn't self-defense to go into a salon.
Not really.
I don't think that's where the friction happened. I think that he premeditated and then chose to take action upon his own hands.
That's right. We're probably getting blown up there. I think what we have to, I think what we have to understand is we've lost all individuality. We've lost all individuality here in America, and we've started grouping people and lumping them into things. Right? So it's anybody with a MAGA hat is racist. Anybody with anybody who has we heard the word blood today.
I'm a blood apparently.
Right. Right. We have to stop bunching people together and start looking at the individual.
Right.
So you had made that post, and I commented, and what it really comes down to is how we value human life as opposed to our values, right? So we were talking about Dr. Seuss and Cardi B. Right? And people out there are like, oh, well, Dr. Seuss, oh, how is he bad? But this is good.
Someone said, sweet, innocent Dr. Seuss.
And I'm like,
did you not see the post?
So if I value a human life, I value a human life equally, right? Your life is just as important as my life. Maybe more important. You're younger. You've got more things you can do, right? But we get our values, our Judeo-Christian values, our Jewish values, our Asian values. You know what I'm saying? Our values, and that's what people want to argue. You want to argue about a man who is racist. Look at the way that he portrayed Africans and African Americans. He was racist. It's okay to say that he was racist.
Oh, another person said based off 100 years of facts. So based off the illustrations that we showed, something about that was that N-words are best served as firewood was based off of 100 years of facts. But if you ask that person and they commented, I'm not racist. And if you think I am, you don't know me at all.
You don't know me at all. But to have Cardi B, and I didn't see it. I don't watch the Grammys. I don't, whatever. You see her talking, singing WAP.
Right.
And scissoring or whatever they were doing.
Right.
I just saw a couple pictures. That goes against my values, perhaps, as a person, or things that I value as appropriate or inappropriate.
Right.
Has nothing to do with race. Nothing.
It's two different topics.
Two different topics. Yeah, that's where we always go, right? We always go to, we're talking about how this man is a racist to, my values, I didn't like the outfits that they were wearing. Right? I didn't. It hurt my feelings that they took a knee during the Pledge of Allegiance or whatever.
Right. Even though the kneeling was for one topic, we're going to say that it's disrespectful to another topic because then we don't have to address the main topic. And that's the Americans play. If I can get you focused on anything else except for the point, then you don't have a point. And we don't have to change anything. Even though history is continuing to repeat itself because we never want to change what we're actually trying to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're having this conversation, people start bringing up Chicago stats. You're doing the move.
Yeah.
You're getting away from the point, so you don't have to focus on what we're actually having a conversation about.
And it's hard to do. It's okay. This is a hard topic.
Yeah, but I mean, people are good. That's why we had this conversation. Yeah. People love Candace because, and I'm not even trying to say this in a disrespectful way, like we talked about. She'll say the statement on the point, and then she'll address other things that have nothing to do with the point. Close enough, that have nothing to do with the point. And then you're so focused on
that's called narrative.
Well, the bill was counterfeit $20. Okay, counterfeiting is bad. That's an entirely different topic. Do you think he should have had a knee on his neck for 9 minutes? Well, he had a background of this, which he did. But my question: do you think he should have had a knee on his? Well, he's also done this, which is cool. Terrible. I don't agree with this action. But my question to you is...
Again, the question, sir.
But if she can keep you doing this the entire time, then we never have to address this. If you have to keep doing this with Colin Ning, then we never have to address this.
So Thomas says that our values equal our individuality. One is not greater than the other. If your values suck, you probably suck as a person. If your values are good, you probably a good person. Now, see, the interesting thing about that is I can have great values that you don't agree with. So now you're saying that I suck as a person, right? Because my values as a Christian are different from Buddhist values.
Right.
Right? But that doesn't mean Buddhists suck as people.
Right. You still got to be able to understand that maybe you have, like you're saying, not necessarily one's better than the other, one's more right, one's more wrong. It's just, this is just how we feel in these certain. But in certain circumstances, for instance, going back to Dr. Seuss, some of this stuff, we both know this isn't okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just one person's perception. These
Correct.
Illustrations are terrible, whether they're made for Asians, whether they're made for Latino or Hispanic, whether they're made against whites, like whatever. So I would be just as pissed if it was towards Caucasians as you should be pissed if it's towards African Americans.
And I want people to, one thing with Dr. Seuss is I'm 51 and a half years old. You know, when you were 8 and a half, you always said it. You don't say it when you're in your 50s. I'm 51 and a half years old. Listen, I don't think I ever saw any of the books that where he sprinkled that. You know, those 6 books that they're taking out of publication. I don't. If someone read it to me or I saw it, it was when I was real young because I don't remember them.
Right.
You know, hey, yeah, I got Green Eggs and Ham. I got Cat in the Hat. Now, Cat in the Hat a little bit different now. You look at it a little bit different. You know, the Go Dog Go, these type of things. Yeah. You know, but what I can say is I can look at those, and I guess I'll go back, but I can look at those and honestly say that perhaps he wasn't trying to spread racism. He was an author and with a wild imagination and could rhyme. You know, maybe the first Eminem out there. Right. And to take everything he's ever done off the shelf is bad. I mean, we can take a look at Disney. Yes, we know Walt Disney in the early years very racist. We get it. Right. You know, right. Why aren't we canceling it? Don't go to his amusement parks then.
Right.
Stay away. You don't have to read these books to your children. Simple as that. Right? I mean, but think about it, right? So it's very frustrating, that argument. And to me, do we have to say white shooter?
You want my honest opinion?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Why?
And I don't want it to be this game, but Like, what do we have? We had to do 5 minutes ago. We had to stop people from possibly throwing out black on black crime shooting.
Right,
It's an entirely different topic. From a minority's perspective, if you don't say white shooters, it appears that whites forget that they shoot as much as they shoot, as hateful as they shoot, as sporadic as they shoot, and that only the minorities are possibly of ever conducting these shooting behaviors. So you have to, hey, this wasn't in a protest. I acted enraged because of oppression, and that's why I became violent. It was, you had a bad day. You decided to go into a salon, tough guy, and shoot 8 people because you felt like it, and then you were coddled and made to be the victim.
Yeah. To which now perhaps a psychologist comes in and says, well,
right, cuckoo. It was disturbed.
No.
But the same crime that you're going to throw stats at people who see stuff all the time, they're just wild savages.
Okay, so the narrative, as we talk about with the narrative, then, why is it on the news or everywhere out there that it is when it's only a race issue that, oh my gosh, here we go now. What I'll use is you take a look at Southern California, where there's a huge gang, Latino gang influence.
Right.
And there are several murders that happen a week in Southern California because they're fighting over territory or whatever. But CNN doesn't run anything about the gang wars.
Right.
Why?
You don't have to. You can watch any hood movie, watch any program, and you're going to see that there's, minority violence, gangs on television, on casual television. You can turn on any hip hop song, you're going to hear about violence in both those communities. So the poison's already in the water. I don't have to force you to drink from the hose. It's already in your sink water. You're already hearing all the time that blood. Like, as soon as I walked in, I walked in a sweater and I'm dressed for court. I walked in a hoodie and I'm a blood. The poison's already in the water.
Yeah.
He knows how to profile somebody already. All right, cool.
Well, we love him.
We love him, but we don't have to spend as much time on that. That's already going. That's automatic. That's passive of hatred. You're already programmed to think that Phil's a blood just because he has this on. So I gotta spend enough time on that. Now, on this situation, I think that there's highlighting because of comments that were made by past presidency about China flu and kind of the backlash of you keep saying these things.
Still trying to make that guy look bad.
You keep
Let
saying
him go,
these
people.
things. Right.
Let him go.
But there's consequences. People were saying, well, he was just saying that because people are taking action based off these words, be responsible for what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, and why is that okay? Why is it okay for gangs to be at war with each other? Why is it okay for countries to be at war with each other? But why is it not okay for a white guy to be at war with?
Right. Okay. Why is it okay for us to talk about gang culture, but not ever highlight any of the hundreds of anti-gang assemblies that have happened between Bloods and Crips or multiple other ones to stop the violence and have them come to peaceful? Why would we take a Fred Hampton who tried to bring these groups who hated each other to unify to stop the problem and paint him to be the bad guy? And when history is told, he was the number one problem to America. And we never talk about the fact that he even had KKK members at Black Panther events to stop hatred towards each other's groups. We won't talk about that.
Right.
Why was that not on the news as much as it is about the crime rate in Chicago? Because apparently we have all the stats for that, but we have no information on the good, positive things people have tried to.
All right.
Because if people started hearing that these groups don't just hate each other for no reason, and some of them are actually trying to stop what's going on, man, more resources would come to have them stop going on. And the same thing they did to Fred Hampton.
Is it good for America to be non-racist? For American business? I don't know.
Is it profitable? Like, is it as profitable?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Are ratings as high if all of a sudden?
Right. I don't know. Why are gangs allowed at all? Hate groups.
Why was MLK hunted more than the KKK? Why was that allowed? Why was every black leader bugged, but none of the KKK leaders are even known?
First of all, I think if you have to cover your face, you guys are all a bunch of cowards.
I'm just saying, like, why is that allowed?
Right.
Why is it taking such a short amount of time for BLM to be considered a hate group, but not the KKK that's been around for hundreds of years?
Yeah, agreed. Yep. And Derek, listen, you guys sponsor this show, so the microphone's always open. We're here every Friday at 9. We'd love to have you here. Thomas says, let me be clear. What you hate, don't do unto others. Yes, we have different cultures where customs are different, but the values that these customs breed out from is what make you a good or bad person. Your values make you have to decide whether my action is good, holy, or bad sin. Christian values, Jewish values, Buddhist values, they are all archetypes of the same story. Be good. Then you'll have a peaceful and fulfilled life. If you decide to shoot 8 people because of your values, not from, and he ran out of space.
Hey, Thomas, it stopped after not from. So if you want to finish the rest of that and post it.
Yeah. What's up, Romy? Listen, there are a lot of parallels in a lot of different cultures, right? If you choose to see them,
right.
There are also a lot of non-parallel lines in different cultures, and that's why what makes people very upset. I mean, you can take a Vietnam veteran. Thank you for your service, and a lot of them will have married a Vietnamese woman, but will still
What's going on?
But we'll still talk very poorly about Vietnamese, right? Because of what they went through.
Right.
They lost a lot of brothers. They saw a lot of things, which is true, not from religion. Then the book should be thrown to you. I think he deserves life sentences with no parole. Well, this guy, it's a court of law. It's not a court of justice. Right. My question is, what defines a gang?
It's also personal value. If 3 black people are standing in Crystal Lake, they could be called a gang. And we're not even affiliated with anyone officially to be a gang, and we don't even do gang activities, but someone may call, hey, 911, there's a gang of people at Crystal Castle on Ackman Road and golf course. You get those phone calls.
And if you're sophisticated and have motorcycles, you're called a club.
Bike club. Even
we don't. He's the president of a bike club.
We don't. Me and my friends don't get into bar fights. But
I love it.
The bike club can get into bar fights.
They're clubs, though.
I'm a gang, but they're not.
I guess it's if you're paying dues, you're a club.
Right. That's what it is.
If you have other people paying your dues, you're the mafia.
You're the mafia.
Yeah. No. And what did he say? He just made a point. I don't think everyone thinks gang being black, not how it works for me. Yeah. Well, no.
I'm not saying that it's just black. I'm like, what I was saying is that people will look at a certain group of people and say there's a gang of suspicious or whatever, and that's things that are said for a lot of mine. That's just the reality for a lot. It may not be your personal belief, but it happens, right? And so, in my knowledge, you have to be, affiliated or initiated into a gang to officially be part of. But depending on someone's personal values, they might think that a group of any race is a gang just by associating outside with clothing that they don't necessarily line up with their clothing doesn't line up with their values.
Or I feel uncomfortable around. Right. I mean, a lot of people gather at churches. You don't call them a gang, call them a congregation. Right.
Right.
They all kind of look alike, all kind of dress alike.
All right, but congregation, club, gang,
right? And so I would probably say, gang can be, I would say, oh my gosh, look at that gang over there. If I'm uncomfortable with them or feel threatened by them, I call it a congregation because I feel safe, right? So, right. But again, what is our programming? We've been programmed to by Hollywood, by everybody over the years. Oh, man, gangs are bad.
Right.
Scary stuff. They're out for you.
Even though some of them were initiated.
My MC gets looks all the time, but we'd be the one to stop for a flat tire. Oh, no, absolutely.
Right. So going back to the Fred Hampton thing. So even though some of these gangs were initiated or created to provide services that weren't being provided in poor communities, we'll still paint the picture that these people were awful. And now those gangs have that terrible name on them for the rest of their time.
Oh, sure.
Versus us never highlighting their original intent.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look at any drug cartel. They give back so much to the community that people love them.
Right.
Yet if you're from outside that community,
it's a rat.
Right? The same way. You go to the inner city, you go to the south side of Chicago, and I'll use the south side of Chicago because we're on the north side of Chicago, right? Northwest side of Chicago. But 21.6 and that can be heard everywhere. But the deal is that they may be doing a lot of good, giving money back to poor families, making sure there's a lot of things. I'm not saying go join a gang right now. I'm just saying that when you're from the outside, you only have to believe and hear what you hear from the news or what's being reported. You don't see that they, created a ball field in an empty lot so that kids could have a chance to play ball.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean, Fred, Velma, Daphne, they were a gang. Shaggy, Scooby.
Yeah. So gang. Shana says gang was used to refer to a collective. Hey, gang, let's move the party over here. Yeah, like Scooby and the gang.
Right.
Yeah,
because that's what Freddie would say. Hey, gang.
Hey, gang. Yeah. Yeah. No, that's that back in the 70s. That was it. So what kind of took us down this direction, as I said, is it important that we say that it's a white shooter?
Right.
And you said absolutely because most of America, most of the world already knows.
And
right.
They associate minorities with violence.
Right. Somewhere along the line, society has said all the murders or gang shootings or whatever is acceptable. And that's where we talk about the value of life, where I would talk about how do you value life?
How have they, though?
Yes.
Why do you think that people are so quick to throw up Chicago crime?
Listen, it's not in the news. People don't run it on the news. People don't. It's glorified, and I'll say glorified from Hollywood, right, and now it's gone from, as I've said, from Hollywood. Yeah, I mean, from Hollywood, it's now gone from African American now to Latino being the gang bangers, right? But I don't stand up out here in the suburbs going, that's wrong down there on south side of Chicago.
So I'm going to ask my question again. Why do you think they post the crime rate in Chicago? People know that it's wrong. It's not necessarily accepted.
Well, it's that, yeah, but
what's accepted is it's now okay to kill you guys because you guys kill you guys. That's what's accepted.
Right. Why is that?
Me killing Marcus is not accepted. You killing me because I kill Marcus is accepted.
Well, that's what I was trying to say.
It's a deeper twist.
Well, right, but that's what I was trying to say is we become numb to or whatever. We don't, but
I don't know if it's numb because it seems like you're only numb for a means to an end. If America wants me gone, they'll excuse me being gone, whether I was unarmed or not, because the crime rate shows that I would kill Marcus. So I don't value my own life. So it's not a problem that Kent killed Phil for no reason. Officer
Kent. And FBI, I know you're listening. I didn't.
I'm still here.
He's my co-host. I don't need three black SUVs pulling up outside my house. Woo!
Cousins, if you're listening. Kent is an ally.
Right. Let's just get that out there. He's alive. He's fun. I don't own it. Listen,
We're cool. We're cool.
and we might be saying the same thing. I think
It's similar.
Yeah. But I don't. So if Channel 7 were to go, oh my gosh, 8 dead gang members south side of Chicago by, a rival gang member,
They'll do it.
But I don't go, oh geez, that's too bad.
Watch. Okay.
However, white guy goes in and shoots 8 people. You're like, oh geez, there's something wrong there.
There's it's like New Year's. It's like 4th of July, Puerto Rican Day Parade, and there's another one. Watch for the scare post. There's a scare post where they go way over the top with the numbers of people shot in Chicago. And that is shown somehow in Florida, they do it. Because if we remind you how bad things are with these savages, then for the rest of the year, when we do what we're going to do, when we do what we're about to do, you'll remember this stat line. And it'll show up in every comment section. So we wanted to say 115 shot in the weekend in Chicago. And then watch. Remember, we do this all the time. Watch the next 3 weeks. How many innocent people.
Hey.
Watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's always because it's fresh in the mind. Well, of course, because he had to. Because
this is a one-off. Because look at how many black on black
every year, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, look at that. I mean, Capone, right? Thanksgiving, 1930, a soup kitchen served 5,000 Chicagoans. Listen, and that's when. Listen, and I've said this, and I will say it time and time again. When the Italian mafia stopped running America, that's when we went downhill.
I feel though, after watching that movie, bro, I feel like there's a difference between hypothetically the Bloods, Crips, and the Panthers. I feel like there's groups that do bad things a lot.
Oh yeah,
and I feel like there's groups that were blackballed.
Oh, there's white collar crime, and then there's the guys who are wearing blue collar, get their hands dirty and afraid to get their hands dirty. Yeah. But I joke, of course, that I joke, but not really. I mean, if you think about it, things were good.
The
Italian mafia
watch, but that's them. That's the mafia. I'm saying Panther. Watch the movie.
What, Black Panther?
It's Judas.
Oh, that one.
Black Messiah?
The Black Messiah. I haven't yet. I need to.
And you see how they depict
I'm going on vacation after next week's show, so I'll have some time.
Got some time.
I have some time.
But we're talking about staying silent for today.
Yeah.
And more importantly, for all the issues that we talk about here at 21/6 and bridging civil tension, what we're really trying to get you guys to do is to be able to speak up when you see injustice. And I'll be honest with you, I caught myself with the recent events on Stop Asian Hate. And because obviously, if you know, globally, if you go to Asian countries, they don't like Americans, but they really don't like African Americans.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They really don't like African Americans. And so certain situations, you'll be whatever. I still like orange chicken, and I think it's fantastic. And I'll still I'm in. Right? We should be allies.
That's right.
Right?
Fried rice, ain't nothing wrong with that.
And I've had this conversation with a few people, is like, when you watch people be silent when it's a Jew, then you come back and you want me to be vocal for you.
Yeah.
And what I realize is you can't be silent no matter what it is, because you need to be the example of, hey, despite your silence for when it was me. I'm not saying that all Asians were silent. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the culture in those countries is racist towards African Americans and Americans.
Yeah.
Just remember that people had your back.
And I'm glad you were and you didn't. I mean, because I was about ready. I was looking forward to maybe come in and call you a hypocrite, but I couldn't. Right. Like, hey, man, you didn't make these posts. You didn't post it, and you did. So I'm like, okay, here he is. Yeah.
And because that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to, and that's where you can't pick and choose the value system.
Correct.
Right is right, wrong is wrong.
A human life is a human life.
And despite how, these people may have acted towards me, I have some dope behind, awesome, super cool, in your corner Asian friends. And for them, I need to speak up. It's wrong to do that. Like, that's not it's not anything. Like, you have to.
A human life is a human life.
So the message in that is, don't take an experience with maybe 1 or 2 or even 5 or 6 and make thousands suffer. So if you ever had an issue with a run-in with an African American, don't make everyone pay for it. If you had a bad experience with one or two white people, don't let all white people suffer for it. Don't be rude to everyone because of the actions of a couple.
But understand, and thanks, Wendy. Wendy is she is the mom of the radio station. So
nice.
Bless you, Wendy. Absolutely love you. But you can't look, when I talk about human life, you can't look past ethnicity. I just see you as a human. Well, then you don't see what makes them a human.
Don't say that.
Right.
I don't see you as a black guy. Please don't say that to me.
Correct. I don't see them as Asian. That's Jim. I understand that's Jim, but what makes Jim Jim is his ethnicity as well.
Right.
You can't look past that. And so many people think that I'm not racist because I don't see color. You got to. Why is there 64 in a crayon box, for crying out loud? You have to.
You see color.
Right?
I think it's easier to say I don't see color than to say I see the value in your color.
Right.
Because some people can't say that.
But some people can't. And I need to be uncomfortable to understand your uncomfortableness. And a lot of people don't like being uncomfortable, right? I think you need to be able to say, and trust me, I am the guy who, through my life, I'm not, man. This is my boy. This is Phil. I don't see color, and that was wrong of me. Right. And I think what I really wanted to say was his color doesn't bother me.
Right.
I see it.
I love. It's a cool white dude, man.
Right. But because I've learned and grown and now understand, his ethnicity and his story is what makes him an individual and a human. That's important to me.
Right.
I have to see that. If you know somebody who's blind, they can probably say, I don't see the color. They may never have seen color.
Right.
But I can guarantee you they know your ethnicity. Right? Because they're going to ask different questions. They're going to do different things. So Mary says, I had one of my Hispanic employees get harassed by a customer, and he just took it and waited until later to tell me. I made sure he knew it was okay to tell me immediately so I could handle it immediately, that he didn't deserve or need to deal with it simply because he's used to it.
Right.
Too many times. You're right. Too many times. And I, on this show, I've said, no, go ahead, say it. Right. I've had to coax it out of you.
Yeah, because you get if I say this, then I fall out of good standings, and they won't like me being a good boy anymore.
Correct.
And then it's a problem. Phil, you're too angry, or you're too hot. It's like, no, I'm just telling you the truth. Like I'm.
And listen, and I know Mary, and Mary does. Of course, if you don't know Mary, she does my Living Low Sodium, my low so lifestyle here on the show. Awesome. She'll bust somebody. If she'd have heard that guy saying that to one of her people, she would have busted that guy's ass. Right. I mean, not her employee.
Right.
I mean, the person who was belittling that person.
It's awesome that you're doing that, because you don't know who will have your back in certain circumstances. Because when you in the corporate world, I've had told managers that, hey, this person said they don't want anyone. They wanted someone less urban. And my manager told me to act like I didn't have the phone call. I said, well, we don't work with racist clients, right? It's here in the guidebook that we don't work with this type of. Well, Phil, you got to understand, they bill over $100,000 a year with us.
Ooh.
So I didn't have
There's your priority.
I didn't have the type of manager that Mary is.
Right. There's your priority.
Right.
What? Crazy. Right. So I want the people who get irritated at this show.
Right.
I want you to know this is not a political show. And a lot of times people want to take race and split it politically.
Right.
And again, I don't care if you got a D, an R. I don't care.
That's the move.
It doesn't matter. Right. Again, it's the deflection. Right. To your point is, oh, no, let's not talk about this.
Well, it's D and R thing. It's not a.
Right. Oh, okay. And if fundamentally Shayna less urban,
meaning they wanted a white candidate to work for their company. They didn't want anyone black. They wanted a white person.
Oh boy, yeah, less urban. Listen, if you don't find a problem with what happened in Georgia this past week, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
That's a problem. If you try to sweep under the rug, oh, he just had a bad day or he comes from a bad life or whatever, that too is a problem. That too is a problem. Okay.
We found them a white candidate, and I was told if I was made to feel uncomfortable by the encounter, then another BDM would take my client that I worked hard to build a relationship with. They would take my commission, and I need to keep my head down and just focus on getting more clients.
They're and Shayna, we're talking about the mass murder of the Asians down in Georgia, right? If you don't, you can't be silent. If you and listen, and I'm going to say this: if you don't find that there's a problem and you're silent, then that's a problem too.
Right.
Go ahead, speak up. Stand up for what you know. If you think that, hey, this kid, boy, he didn't take his vitamins and, whatever. His mom starched his underwear. I don't know. Yeah, that's all the reason to go and shoot eight people. Okay, well then if you're silent though, you're not standing up for what you believe.
Right. You're not putting yourself in a position to have conversations,
to learn, to grow. Right.
If you're in a leadership position, one thing I will say, if you're in a leadership position, despite what you feel that you may lose short term, really, really short term, understand that you're losing something a lot more valuable long term when you stay silent. When you don't speak up for those who look up to you, you don't speak up and make an impact on the lives that you have the opportunity to do so, there's a far greater consequence than just a temporary loss. Yeah. So I highly, highly encourage those of you in leadership positions, when you see injustice, speak up. See something, say something.
That's it. And of course, we're going to reach out to one of our greatest critics this week and see if we can't get that person on this show to have a good conversation next week. If not, we'll be back. Remember, you're always going to be crossing bridges. Don't burn them down. It's better to have a conversation, respect an individual, and be able to say, okay, that either strengthens my belief or changes my belief. But the important thing is we want to bridge that civil tension. Right? So for Phil Wallace, I'm Kent Jones. Special thanks to our good friends over at Gold Shield Services, www.goldshieldtoday.com. Until next week, we will see you. Make it as peaceful and as loving as you possibly can.
Love you guys.